so much for staying with us. Straight on to our interview this hour. I'm joined by Professor Alfred Omenya, who is a governance expert, who's joining us live from our City Center studios, and Madam Maimuna Muidao, who is a political commentator. She is joining us live from Nyali. Good afternoon, lady and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us on News Desk. All right.
Afternoon, Grace.
Great. Okay, Prof, let me start with you. Now, this was one hotly contested seat. I mean, it attracted attention beyond the constituency's borders. We saw ODM, which was confident of winning, confident of triumphing in the Msambweni by-election. This is an area that is perceived to be an ODM stronghold. And this is a candidate who has been termed as a handshake candidate. Remember, he received support from the ODM party leader, Raila Odinga, and we even saw a photo of him with President Uhuru Kenyatta over the weekend, which surfaced, on social media. What transpired? What exactly happened? Mark you, Prof, this is a seat that ODM has held since the year 2007 for 13 years. But this time round, an independent candidate has won the Msambweni by-election.
Yes, I think, Grace, thank you for that. I think this is a bit of an indictment of the political class. Of course, I mean, I think a lot of people are surprised. Polls were indicating that ODM was winning. ODM itself was projecting that confidence with no less than the ODM party leader basically saying that the Msambweni by-election is going to be a test for BBI. And I think that one of the reasons why ODM lost was the overconfidence that they had, that they were actually going to win, despite the fact that the dynamics on the ground are very different. Yes, but I think also from where I sit, the ODM party and its leaders need to really think carefully about its base, so that they don't lose the base, even as they focus on issues around the handshake and issues around supporting Jubilee and so on. It was very clear that ODM was not really touching the electorate in terms of the issues that people are experiencing on the ground. In fact, starting with the ODM leader, I mean, for Raila to come in and say that as far as he was concerned, the issue was really about BBI, and this would be the test for BBI. While on the other hand, the supporters, the Keleweke team, plus Governor Mvurya and the support of Faisal, were really talking about lack of representation. They're talking about poverty levels that are hitting people. They're talking about health issues and so on. So in a way, I think ODM, just lost a chance to connect to his base, and ODM is constantly losing his base anyway. While the Keleweke team, let me not call them the Keleweke, but the Faisal team basically did a good job by connecting to the people on the ground, by discussing the issues they had, by lamenting the fact that Msambweni has not had a representative for the last 8 to 9 months. And then, of course, you can see that Msambweni was invaded by, you can actually say, by foreigners who are all speaking, gibberish that were not really resonating with the local people. Of course, Ali Hassan Joho and his entire team from out there. And I think ODM also need to learn that maybe Kenyans are tired of chest thumping. This idea that you've already won, you go there and you chest thump, you're unbeatable and so on. And in this particular instance, of course, what is even more shocking is that ODM was officially supported by Jubilee. So Faisal Badar had to come in as an independent candidate, although of course we know that in reality a huge faction of Jubilee were behind Faisal. Yes, so my reading of this is that ODM is actually losing touch with his electorate, and ODM needs to go back and rethink the strategy. In fact, using the leaders' own words. Right. Political seats at that level is actually about the people at that level. It has nothing to do with BBI and other things.
Right.
But when you go there just thumping, telling people about these lofty, national programs that you are crafting with the president, and meanwhile they can't put food on the table, at some point they'll just shift And I think that is really what shifted things in Msambweni. I'm glad to say that Jubilee has also been relatively strong in...
Right, Prof. And actually, you mentioned BBI, and we'll be getting to that, the question on whether it was actually wrong for him to invoke BBI, but we'll be coming to that. Maimuna, I want to bring you in. Thanks for joining us. What went wrong? I mean, I would call our lady on the ground in this case. What went wrong for the ODM camp? I mean, Faisal Al-Badr is a man who, was an independent candidate. Of course, he is a DP Ruto ally, but we're talking about Omar Aboge, who is a handshake candidate, a man who had the support of both the president and ODM party leader Raila Odinga.
Thank you, Grace. Here on the ground, things are a little bit different, given the fact that Faisal Badr is a relative of the late Msambweni former member of parliament, Dori. So in essence, normally in a by-election, you find that sympathy votes also play a major role. So in this case, at some point, and you can see from the voters in Gasi area, which is the hometown of Faisal Badr, there was a lot of votes for Badr and against Boga. So sympathy votes played a major role. Again, as Prof has said, the chest thumping from the county government of Mombasa, Kilifi, and the party leader himself was enough to sway the votes towards a different candidate. Especially when you talk about the BBI in the coast right now, there's been a lot of hue and cry as to what is the benefit of BBI to the coast people. You can imagine a situation where you are told that this is a BBI candidate or this is a handshake candidate, and everybody's asking themselves, so what good is it to us? In that case, the people of Msambweni decided we will give the vote to, first, a relative because of sympathy. Second, we are going to deny you the big guns of ODM and the handshake together. And as a simple people of Msambweni, we are going to decide for ourselves. The leader of ODM came out quite clearly saying that this is a litmus test for the referendum. Indeed, it is, and it has really responded very loudly and clear that Msambweni might actually influence the rest of the Coast Province in deciding during the referendum whether we are going to vote yes or no for the BBI.
Right, but then again, Maimuna, we also need to talk about the Ruto factor, because he actually did not show up for any campaign in Msambweni, but of course we did see his foot soldiers there who were there even up until yesterday night. I mean, we saw them there. We actually even remember Governor Ali Hassan Joho even challenging the deputy president, daring him to show up on the ground for the campaigns. Let's talk about this Ruto factor, in as much as, you've already told us what could have led to all this. But let's talk about that factor.
I think that the influence of the deputy president was definitely 100% on the ground, given that, as you said, his foot soldiers were all over in Msambweni. But already he had a very good team in Kwale County for a very long period of time since.
All right, we appear to have lost her, but of course she will be back. Maimuna Mida, we will sort that out. In the meantime, Prof, let me get your thoughts on that. The Ruto factor, again, as I said, he never set foot in Msambweni for the campaigns, for the by-election, but it appears his camp won. Yet ODM was there day in, day out, and as I said, we even saw Joho challenging him to show up for the campaigns. Prof? Professor Manya, can you hear me?